Good morning, all of you. Today we are going to see the next part of plant movement. In previous lecture, we see the two kinds of plant movement, that is locomotion, movement of locomotion, and another one, that is the movement of curvature, in which we see the movement of growth, curvature movement. So in this, we see out the particularly autonomic and paratonic type of growth movement. In autonomic, Nastic and nutation, these two type of movements are there that is related with the growth. So this movement should not be irreversible in the state, its original shape. So that is permanent. Growth movement is always permanent. In another one, that is trophism, phototrophic, geotrophic, hydrotrophic, chemotrophic. So this type of movement that is related with the growth. Now, next part of that, we are going to move towards the variation movement. So in variation movement, here in variation, that is having particularly autonomic and paratomic. Again, two types of plant movements are there. This is a temporary bending movement of plant organ, plant parts. Is called as variation movement. For example, in one of the plant, that is Desmodium garans, that plant has the compound leaf, and that consists of a larger terminal and two smaller leaflets. But what happened, within every 2 minutes in a daytime, the leaflet of plant move upward and downward direction at the angle of 90 degree and 180 degree. So this continuous movement of this leaflet, that is nothing but called as variation movement. And this is not permanent, this is reversible. So it can attain its original shape again after few minutes, again it's changing its shape. So this is not related with growth. There is no relation of this plant movement with the growth. It has been said that the leaflets have been moved to maintain nothing but the light response. Just like by moving of leaflet, what happened? It tried to absorb the light. Or maybe it has been said that it is just like to maintain the osmotic pressure or water level in the leaves. If it is having higher water level, then it becomes to be at the upward direction. If it is at the lower water level, it moves towards the downward direction. So by this way, what happens? They continuously move. But this movement could not be held for not any purpose of growth. So this is temporary movement. So variation movement is always temporary. That is not permanent. Just like yesterday lecture we see, growth movement is permanent, but variation movement is not permanent. That is temporary bending movement. So another movement that is come under here, that is Nastic movement, created by the plant itself. Nastic movement, that is again created by plant in response to external stimulus. So this is paratonic movement. So the temporary bending movement of plant organ in response to external stimulus, that is called as Nastic movement. And this is paratonic variation curvature movement. This is curvature movement, type of variation movement, and paratonic means dependent on external stimulus. These are responses of plant to stimuli from the environment that do not come from the particular direction. So these include responses to change according to the temperature, according to the light intensity, according to humidity, or according to touch. So depending on that is called as Nastic movement. This is called Nastic. Nastic means actually the here that is not it. Just like do not having any meaning. The behavior that do not having any meaning, that is called as Nastic. So here plants show the behavior that do not having any meaning. So that type of particular movement, that is called as curvature variation movement. So here according to the temperature, here what happened? firstly we have to know what is meant by the tropism and the Nastic movement. Tropism that we have seen in case of growth movement, that tropism is a directional movement, particular light or maybe to the direction of particularly chemical towards the direction of earth. So that's showing movement towards a specific external stimulus. Example, sunlight through a window that determines the direction of plant growth. But Nastic movements are not the result of stimulus from the certain direction. It is though attracted towards the specific stimulus. Still, it is not result of that. Nastic responses can be fast, whereas tropism are generally slow growth changes because growth is slow, steady process, and Nastic response is variation. So this is very fast process. So there is difference in between the tropic movement and the Nastic movement. So we are going to see here the nectinastic movement, photonastic movement, thermonastic movement, seismonastic, plasmonastic. These are the different type of movements. Just like depending on here, the depending on here, आवाज येतोय माझा बरोबर?
Yes, sir.
हा ओके ठीक. स्लाइड शो दिसतोय? हा स्लाइड शो दिसतोय ना? हा
Yes,
ठीक.
sir.
हा ठीक.
हो सर.
Okay. Then nectinastic movement, that is the sleep movement. So sleep movement that is related with the particularly some of the plants that show the sleeping habitat. Generally, plant do not sleep, but sleeping means here that is it flows down the petal of flower or maybe the leaflet of the compound leaves. So that may be that is nothing but called as nectinastic movement. That is nectinastic is related with the nocturnal habit. Nocturnal means that is at the night habit. So generally in the daytime they open their leaflet and in the night time they close their leaflet. That is called as nectinastic movement. Another one that is it is maybe related with the photonastic. Photo means the light response to the light. When light is available, it opens the petal of the flower or maybe the leaflet. This is called as photonastic. Thermonastic is related with temperature. When temperature is particular, then it will open the leaflet. When temperature is not particular or not favorable, at that time it closes down the leaflet or nothing but the petal. So that is called as photonasty or thermonasty. Seismonasty is related with the nothing but particularly sensations or plasmonasty that is related with the touch. So photonasty that is it is the light stimulated nectinastic movement. So some of the leaves of dicot when grow in the dark curl upward, but when transferred to the light, the laminae flatten out. Darkness मध्ये आलं, auxiliaries मध्ये गेलं, unit of the auxiliaries. That's so. During the night, it flows nothing but laminae flatten out. In the daytime, that's nothing. Sorry, in the night time, it is nothing but curl upward, and in the daytime, it is flatten out. So flowers and leaves of oxalis open in the morning and close in the night. So that is nothing but called as photonasty. So this is nectinastic movement. Type of nectinastic movement is distributed into two types. That is photonasty and thermonasty. Thermonasty is the temperature stimulated nectinastic movement, just like flowers of tulip or maybe the crocus, crocus. So the thermonasty by opening of high temperature and closing at the low temperature. When temperature is low, generally crocus or tulip flowers are found in the Himalayan region, in the cold region. And at that time, what happens when there is ice fall or maybe the cold environment, at that time they close down their leaflet, they close down their nothing but flowers. And whenever then the temperature is having attained a specific moderate temperature, at that time what happens? They open their leaflet, they open their flowers. The flowers सुद्धा त्याचे open करतात. So this is nothing but called as thermonastic movement. Then sleeping movement of particularly Mimosa pudica, आपण ज्याला लाजाळू म्हणतो आपल्याला माहिती. So that is nothing but also seen to the particularly in various species of Mimosa species, specifically Mimosa pudica showing both type of nastic movement. That is related with the nectinastic and again that is the touch related with the plasmonastic. So Nectinastic movement or sleep movement, that is the daily sleep movement of some of the plants called nectinastic movement. These are temporary curvature movement of leaves and flowers. Growth is not involved in such movement. Change in turgor pressure causes this movement, and in this plant of what happens, the leaves and flowers acquire different positions during day and night. So the sleep movement are exhibited by a variety of plants, just like acacia. आपण बाभळीच्या झाडामध्ये सुद्धा पाहतो. बाभूळमध्ये acacia species what happens? In the night time they close down their leaflet, and in the morning they open out. So that is again called as Nastic movement. That is sleep movement. That is not related with the that is related with light, but it is related with the day duration. Duration what is dependent. Again, the flowers and leaves of many plants close upward when the light intensity decreases. It gets dark. A photonastic response. Example, sunflower. सूर्यफूल आपण पाहतो. That is, you know very well. It moves towards the sun direction. So that is called the Nastic movement. But it is not having any meaning because flower do not undertake the photosynthesis. So there is no meaning of just to attract towards the sunlight. But it is Nastic movement. Do not have the movement that do not having any meaning. ज्याला काही अर्थ नाही असा जी movement plan दाखवतात, that is nothing but called as the particularly Nastic movement. Then in this slide you can see here the photograph of particularly leguminous plant, particularly pinnate type of leaves, legumes left horizontal leaflet in the day, that is then right leaflet folded to vertical at midday is on to the sun. So according to when the sun is available, they nothing but open out the leaflet. Then another picture is shown at here, that is nothing but called as Mimosa pudica. When we touch it by particularly thing, just like pencil or any other thing needle, or maybe if we touch by the hand, what happens? It fold down. So that folding is dependent on due to the nothing but movement of water. The pressure dependent on movement of water. In सगळ्या ठिकाणी osmosis आहे. Here again there is role of osmosis. Then nectinastic movement of variation in oxalis, unfolded leaflets and folded leaflets. This is the oxalis. That is color picture here mentioned here. Then this is tulip flower. Tulipa species that show thermonasty. When temperature is proper, it opens the flower. When temperature is not proper, it closes down the flower. Crocus flower, that also show thermonasty. Then seismonastic movement. That is nothing but called as the temporary bending movement of leaves and flowers in response to touch. That is nothing but called as the seismonastic movement. So this is the particularly in response to touch. Seismo means related with the sensation or touch. Just like Mimosa pudica, that show the dropping of leaves takes place due to sensation. That is called as nothing but movement takes place due to pulvinus present in the leaf, base of the leaflet. Like pulvinus structure, that due to that what happens? The pulvinus it shows the sensation. म्हणून याला सिस्मोनास्टिक म्हणतात. मी मगाशी सांगताना वेगळं सांगितलं. सिस्मोनास्टिक मुवमेंट मायमोसा पुडिकामध्ये काय सिस्मोनास्टिक मुवमेंट आहे. So turgid cell of upper leaf and flaccid cells of lower leaf surface, that nothing but showing this movement. Just like here the picture has been shown that it has a structure called as pulvinus that have the turgid cell of pulvinus, that is upper leaf, and flaccid lower leaf. हा खालचा जो भाग असतो फ्लॅसिड असतो, वरचा टर्जिड असतो. ज्याच्यामध्ये टर्जिडिटी झाली त्याच्यामध्ये लिफलेट ओपन होतो आणि ज्या वेळेला यातलं वॉटर जेव्हा निघून जाईल ऑटोमॅटिकली गेट फ्लॅसिड डाऊन. ते त्यावेळी फ्लॅसिड डाऊन होतो. सो दिस इज नथिंग बट कॉल्ड as seismonastic movement. That is a temporary bending movement of leaves and flower in response to touch. Then here best example is Mimosa pudica. In the normal condition, the leaf look like this, and later on afterward sensation it drop down their leaflet. इथे जे leaflet आहे काय करतात त्याच्यामध्ये ड्रॉप डाऊन करतो. ऍक्च्युली बरोबर हा जो पार्ट हा जो हा leaflet आहे इथे इरेक्ट दिसतोय आणि इथे हा ड्रॉप डाऊन झालेला आहे. That is due to stimulation. So lower half of the pulvinus consists of thin-walled parenchyma with larger intercellular species. The upper half of the pulvinus consists of thick-walled parenchyma cells with very small and fewer intercellular. So in normal condition of the cell, both halves remain fully charged. पण ज्यावेळेला सेन्सेशन जर आपण टच करू जेव्हा काय होईल, what happens? Then with touch, then lower half becomes lower and they release water into the intercellular spaces, come flaccid. On the other hand, cells of the upper half remain turgid, and due to that, what happened? It absorbs some of the water to become more turgid. The presence of upper turgid half and lower flaccid half. This results in dropping. वरच्या भागाला पाणी जास्त जमा होतं, खालच्या भागाला कमी होतं. Due to that, it dropped down the leaflet. आता हे कशासाठी केलं असेल? What the nature having made this provision? To avoid the grazing generally. काही प्लांट्स मध्ये ग्रेझिंग होते. ग्रेझिंग म्हणजे काय? Then grazing means here they can undergo particularly just like particularly cattle fed on that. बरेचसे जे हर्ब्स आहेत त्याच्यावरती कॅटल फीड करतात. टू अवॉइड द ग्रेझिंग म्हणजे त्याला कॅटल्सनी फीड करू नये म्हणून त्यासाठी अशा प्रकारचं इथे यांनी प्लांटमध्ये मॉडिफिकेशन केलं. सो हिअर बाय द नथिंग बट टच बाय द पेन्सिल ऑर एनी पर्टिक्युलर स्ट्रक्चर you can easily see their dropping of the leaflet has been takes place whenever we touch to any particularly leaf or leaflet. This is again same picture as we show pulvinus at the basis of leaflet that have been touched so that it close down the leaflet. Then the next movement that is nothing but called as Nastic movement. So Nastic movement that is related with the particularly this is the temporary bending movement of the leaves of insectivorous plant. Nastic is also related with the touch, but it is related with the insectivorous plant. So insectivorous plant, there are some of the plants like Drosera, that is also called sundew, or maybe the Dionia, that is also called Venus flytrap. That plant show nothing but a Nastic movement. So whenever this is a temporary bending movement. Now why this all movement is temporary? Because this is a variation movement. Variation movement is type, and this could not. This is not the permanent thing. Suppose just like you touch to Mimosa pudica, that is not permanent. That remain for some time. Later on, it again undergo the osmosis in the upper part of the leaflet to the lower side, and so that again the erect of the particular lattice or maybe the erect of leaflet have been takes place after some time. काही वेळानंतर त्याचं पुन्हा erection होतं. So that is also called as nothing but seismonastic movement. So all these are temporary movements. Has सगळ्या temporary movement. In previous lecture we see all the growth movement that is permanent. Just like attraction towards the light, that is permanent. If the change have been occurred, that could not be retained its original shape. But in variation movement, what happens? Here, the shape that have been attained to original shape la आपण attain करू शकतो. So that is nothing but one of the change that have been seen in case of variation movement. Then another example is Drosera or Dionia, that is the particularly Fibonacci movement, or also called as heptonastic. That is also called heptonastic. Heptonastic means related with the plants which are insectivorous. So some of the plants are there that is found in the deep forest of South Africa, in some part of India also, in the Himalayan region, in particularly in western part of Maharashtra also, we can see the Venus trap plant. This is Venus trap plant, the Dionia. That this is also found in Maharashtra. So that is nothing but has the sensitive hairs. It has the flower. It has the sensitive hairs to the leaflet. So it has the sensitive hairs to the leaf, upper part of the leaf, and that have nothing but catching the insect, and that have the digestive glands. In that leaflet that have digestive gland that digest the insect food material, and later on that residue of the insect is liberated again out. जे काही इन्सेक्ट त्याच्यामध्ये अडकला असेल तर इन्सेक्ट अडकतात त्यातले न्यूट्रिएंट ते स्टक करतात आणि नंतर त्यातले न्यूट्रिएंट ते पुन्हा नंतर त्या इन्सेक्टची जी रेसिड्यू राहिल्याची बॉडी असेल ती पुन्हा रिलीज करतात. सो दिस इज द इन्सेक्टिव्हरस प्लांट. आता वाय दिस प्रोव्हिजन मेड बाय द नेचर टू दिस प्लांट? बिकॉज इफ वी सी इन द डेन्स फॉरेस्ट देर इज लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ इन्सेक्ट. इन्सेक्टचं प्रमाण जास्त आहे. खूप प्रमाणात इन्सेक्ट असतात. डीप जे फॉरेस्ट असतात, जनरली डेसिडस जे फॉरेस्ट असतात त्या फॉरेस्टमध्ये काय असतं, इन्सेक्टचं प्रमाण जास्त असतं आणि ते पानांना खातात. म्हणून प्लांटनी अशी प्रोव्हिजन केली की ते इन्सेक्टला खायचं. आणि दुसरं आहे की जे डेन्स फॉरेस्ट असतात त्या ठिकाणी फोटोसिंथेसिस प्रमाण कमी असतं. बिकॉज लाईट कुड नॉट बी रीच टू द सरफेस प्लांट. जिथे सरफेसवरती असणारी प्लांट आहे जे हर्ब आहे, कारण मोठे मोठे टॉल ट्री असतात त्याच्यामुळे काय होणार, त्यांची सावलीमुळे त्या particularly herbsला it could not be undertake the proper amount of photosynthesis. ते प्रॉपर अमाऊंट मध्ये फोटोसिंथेसिस करू शकत नाही. सो देर इज न्यूट्रिशनल डिफेक्ट, न्यूट्रिशनल डेफिशियन्सी, न्यूट्रिशनल डेफिशियन्सी राहते अशा प्लांटमध्ये. सो दिस प्लांट आर इव्हॉल्ड, हे प्लांट काही इव्हॉल्ड झाले टू ऍडजस्ट विथ दिस नेचर, या नेचर सोबत ऍडजस्ट होण्यासाठी. सो दॅट what happened, this nothing but catch the insect. One of the plant is there, that is the Drosera. Another is that is Beonia, that is Venus fly trap. It is also called Venus fly trap. Another one that is nothing but Drosera is called the Sundry. So this is the Drosera. It has tentacles. Now these tentacles are nothing but only poisonous. Sometimes some amount of poisonous in the nature. When the insect have been reached to these tentacles, it have been trapped and it have been nothing but undergo death. And then after nutrients are absorbed by these tentacles. Tentacles काय करतात ते nutrient absorb करतात. So this is also nothing but called as Drosera. This is another plant that is also called insectivorous plant, showing the Nastic movement. So use of Venus flytrap or the mimosa plant both flows in response to touch. आता म्हणून generally we get confused with the seismonastic and nothing but seismonastic. But there is difference only that both the movement are expressed by the touch. दोन्ही टच मध्ये होणार. But the seismonastic is related with nothing but with the shrinkage of leaflet, and the seismonastic is related with the nothing but trap of insect. Insect ला trap करण्यासाठी. या दोघांमध्ये हा फरक आहे. Okay, so both are the nastic movement. Then Drosera producing nothing but particularly Drosera plant that producing here the tentacles. That tentacles secreting out the enzymes that somewhat poisonous in the nature, and these enzymes can digest the insect. So insect ला काय करतात, digest करू शकतात. These enzymes are secreted by the plant. Then this is nothing but some of the photographs, that is particularly Nepenthes. This is Nepenthes. This is another plant. This is nothing but Drosera. This is Nepenthes. In Nepenthes also, here there is having a fly trap. This is the fly trap. Here there is one leaf. That leaf closed down. Whenever insect entered into the trap, हा इथे छोटा फोटोग्राफ दाखवला, इथे मोठा. Whenever insect having trap in this, it closed down the leaflet. That is leaflet closed. And then after what happened, it is digested after few days. त्या दिवसानंतर ते digest होतं. Nutrient having nothing but particularly absorbed to this insect. So this is also nothing but one of the seismonastic movement. This is the seismonastic movement. Now we have been seeing all about curvature movement. आपण curvature movement जवळपास सगळ्या पाहिल्या. In this we have been seeing here the growth movement and nothing but variation movement. Now the last part is here, that is the hygroscopic movement. Hygroscopic movement is movement occurring in non-living parts of the plant, just like inhibition takes place in case of some of the plant. काही plant मध्ये काय होतं, inhibition होतं. Inhibition मुळे सुद्धा ही जी movement होती, that is nothing but called as particularly the याला सुद्धा काय म्हणणार आपण, particularly it is nothing but called as the hygroscopic movement. So here what happened, they are the due to the loss or gain of the water, these movements can be observed in elaters of Bryophyta, elaters of Equisetums, towards peristome, fish in the moss capsules. हे तुम्ही सगळं लोअर प्लांट स्टडी मध्ये केलं असेल, तुम्हाला माहिती आहे. So all these are nothing but they are having showing hygroscopic movement. These are two types, that is xerocacy and hydrocacy. So xerocacy means movement is caused by loss of water, and hydrocacy means movement brought about by the inhibition of water. जेव्हा स्वेलिंग अप होईल त्याला म्हणणार हायड्रोकेसी, आणि जेव्हा त्याचं डेहिसन्स होईल, एखादा पर्टिक्युलर लॉस ऑफ वॉटर होईल, ड्राय होईल, देन डेहिसन्स ऑफ पॉड, डेहिसन्स ऑफ परेंजियम, देन स्किपा ग्रास, particularly that showing nothing but dehiscence of fruit seed capsule. So these are all nothing but in the zero case. And whenever it has been inhibit the water, then it is called as hydrocacy. त्याला आपण hydrocacy म्हणतो. So here only one agency is here, that is nothing but water. ही सगळी वॉटर रिलेटेड मुवमेंट आहे, पण ही हायड्रोट्रॉपिझम पेक्षा थोडी वेगळी. हायड्रोट्रॉपिझम मीन्स मुवमेंट टुवर्ड्स द वॉटर, दॅट इज अ ग्रोथ मुवमेंट. But this is hygroscopic movement. Hygroscopic means it is absorbing movement, water absorbing or releasing. That movement is nothing but called as the hygroscopic movement. So this is related with the particularly the different kinds of movement. ह्या सगळ्या वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे ज्या मुवमेंट्स आहेत, त्या मुवमेंट त्याच्यामध्ये दिलेल्या आहेत. ओके, ठीक आहे. I have one of the particularly video that I will share at here. You can see how the Nepenthes plant how the Drosera plant, Venus trap plant can work actually. Just a minute.
The Venus flytrap. Like the sundew, it makes itself very attractive, oozing nectar across the brim of each leaf. But any visiting insect had better watch out for these 6 tiny hairs. This fly has to tread carefully. If it strikes one hair, it can carry on feeding, but a timer has been set. A second strike in less than 20 seconds and the fly is doomed. An electrical impulse is triggered and the leaf snaps shut in just a fraction of a second. The tips lock together like prison bars. If the fly is very big or very small, it may just manage to escape. But most are trapped and die. Ten days later, the trap reopens. All that remains is a husk. The plant has finished its meal and resets itself for its next victim.
Okay. Here about Kabir, we finished at here this point. Any doubt from your side? Any doubt? विचारा काय असेल तर doubt? No doubt. Okay. We are going to close this now.